Alright, so I just wanted to make this video talking about the New York Mets. Obviously, the MLB playoffs are right around the corner. The wildcard games are starting tomorrow, with the Reds who are going to be taking on the Dodgers. I'm a Reds fan, I'm excited about that. Excited to make the dance, but I wanted to make this video talking about the New York Mets. How this season is just another year in a long chain of the Mets playing terrible and the Mets choking it away. And also, I'll talk about Pete Alonso a little bit, what I think about Alonso's situation with him saying that he's going to opt out. Let's start with this. First of all, the Mets back in June were 45-24. They had by far the best record in baseball, and they looked really good, like a sure team to beat. And now here we are. Not only did a team that was heavy favorite to win the NL East not do so, they failed to make the playoffs. They were beat to the playoffs by a team who had a third of their payroll. A $330 million roster failed to make the playoffs. But obviously, this didn't just happen overnight. It was building up in a long way to do so. First of all, Juan Soto did not play like he was worth all that money. He did not. And I understand this is his first year in a new team, but he was new on the Yankees last year. Juan Soto's a guy that I know has all that elite talent, but he's had some really inconsistent seasons here and there. He looked great in 2019. He looked great in 2021 and 2020. But 22 with the Nationals and the Padres wasn't consistent. Last year with the 2 years ago with the Padres started slow, didn't get hot till later in the season. Last year was great, sure, in a hitter-friendly park. And all this year, just the growing pains got him, man. He did not look like a guy who was worth all that money. And so now here we are. This inconsistency from the Mets again. They miss the playoffs. And now, Pete Alonso wants out. Pete Alonso flat out told the press yesterday that when the season was over, he was opting out of his contract and going to free agency. First of all, don't get too crazy about this yet. As far as I'm concerned, Pete just made a bad decision in an emotional moment. Pete's an emotional player. He's smart, but he plays with a lot of emotion. He's been present in the Mets since 2019, when the Mets barely missed the playoffs and were beat up by the team that won the World Series that year. 2020, the Mets were good, but were elite, but not clutch, and they missed the playoffs. 2021, they signed Lindor, had a lot of expectations, and then they missed the playoffs again. Collapsed at the end of the season in a division that was basically running itself over. 2022, 101 season, got decimated in the wild card. 23 missed the playoffs, had a bad year all around. Sure, there were a lot of injuries, but they still missed it. 24, though. Despite the rough start, they got better, they made it, they made the NLCS. Sure, they lost to the Dodgers, but they put up a better fight than we thought they would. They get Juan Soto, have all those expectations, and here they are, back to 2021 status. The division lead, a lot of expectations, some question marks. They missed the playoffs. Pete's been a part of all of that. So it could just be Pete simply saying, I gave this organization a chance, but I don't think I'm going to win here. If that's the case, go ahead. Do what you want, Pete. If you want to leave, go ahead. But remember, we still have a bit of a way until the offseason begins for baseball. So as far as I'm concerned, he can get to the offseason and realize he made a bad decision in a time where he was really emotional, and he could go back to the Mets. We don't know. If that is not the case, though, Pete does opt out of the contract. He goes to free agency. Where would he go? In my opinion, he pulls the opposite of Soto. Goes across town to the Yankees. They've been needing a first baseman for a while now. Paul Goldschmidt, while he's been solid, he hasn't been the player that the Yankees thought he was going to be. The Yankees are a team who needs some power in their lineup, outside of Aaron Judge. Bellinger's been great, sure. Kudos to Bellinger for being so. But obviously the Yankees this year, they just weren't the same team that made the World Series last year. While they got a lot of power from Judge, they needed more power outside of Judge, and Pete Alonso could give you that in a home run park that's a lot more home run friendly than the Mets are, than it is in Citi Field. So, Yankees are an option. I think Pete Alonso and pinstripes would be great. But there's still a lot of places he can go. And obviously, while the offseason continues to go on, there's going to be more speculation. I'll cover that, obviously. But until then, the Mets missed the playoffs. And Pete Alonso wants out. Yet another season, another disappointing season, and a long string of such for this New York Mets organization, who just consistently, they have a great payroll. They have, in my opinion, one of the better owners in baseball who's not willing to stop at anything to win a World Series. He's willing to open the vaults for his team, and he did. $330 million payroll is not quiet. It's one of the highest in baseball. But once again, sometimes money can't buy you championships. Not every team can be the Dodgers. You're going to fall short sometimes. And once again, the Mets did. Fell short in a season filled with expectations. I just look at this season, and it's 2021 all over again. The only difference is the Phillies were really the only good team in the NL East this year. They're probably going to go on to win the World Series, in my opinion. And the Mets are going to sit back and watch just like they did in 2021 when the World Series was won by the Braves. So that's going to wrap it up for this video. Tomorrow I'm going to make a video talking about the NFL season. Maybe some tips on what the Browns should do, because the Browns are secretly a good team, but they just haven't been able to get over the hump a few times. Falling short against good teams, but I'm going to make an NFL video tomorrow. I'll upload a lot of videos throughout the week on sports in general. Monday Night Raw tonight, I'm watching that for sure. And I'll probably make a video talking about the disaster WrestlePalooza was, because that was bad. Yeah, WrestlePalooza was rough. Until then, this is my Mets video. If you have any comments or anything you'd like to say about what the New York Mets just did, let me know in the comments. I'm not a Mets fan. See, like, in this right here, I'm a Reds fan. I'm happy the Reds made it, but I'm honestly more amazed about how much the Mets just blew it and fell apart. So, if you like the video, leave a like. Any thoughts on the Mets? Let me know in the comments. If you're a Mets fan wanting this last shout over what the hell just happened, go ahead. But I'll see you on tomorrow, where I make a video talking about either the NFL or WrestlePalooza.